This is Optimal Health Daily, episode 119, The Definitive Guide to Sticking to Your New Year's Resolutions by Babauta of Zen Habits.net. And I'm Dr. Neil, your very own personal narrator. Welcome to a Thursday edition of Optimal Health Daily. You'll notice this week I'm reading some posts about goals and resolutions to help lead us into 2017, which is, I can't believe it, only 3 days away. And by the way, this is one of 4 podcasts where we read to you from blogs for free so that you don't have to read them yourself. Except on Fridays, where I usually answer your questions. But this Friday is different. I'm going to do something a little special and not read to you. You'll get a chance to listen to my interview with Brian Copeland from KGO Radio AM 810. And on that show, I share with you my thoughts on how to stick to New Year's resolutions. All right, so let's hear Leo's perspective as we optimize your life. The Definitive Guide to Sticking to Your New Year's Resolutions by Babauta of Zen Habits.net. Quote, habits are at first cobwebs, then cables. Spanish proverb. Let's face it, most of us fail when it comes to sticking to resolutions, so much so that many people swear never to make resolutions again. And yet the rest of us are eternally hopeful when the new year comes around, believing without any credible evidence that we can improve our lives, that change is possible, and that we're not going to be stuck in the same old rut again this year. I'm here to tell you that you can do it. It is possible, and I'll show you how. The problem with most resolutions. While I love the optimism of New Year's resolutions, unfortunately, the enthusiasm and hope often fades within weeks, and our efforts at self-improvement come to a whimpering end. New Year's resolutions usually fail because of a combination of some of these reasons. 1. We try to do too many resolutions at once, and that spreads our focus and energies too thin. It's much less effective to do many habits at once. 2. We only have a certain amount of enthusiasm and motivation, and it runs out because we try to do too much too soon. We spend all that energy in the beginning and then run out of steam. 3. We try to do really tough habits right away, which means it's difficult, and we become overwhelmed or intimidated by the difficulty and quit. 4. We try to be disciplined and do very unpleasant habits, but our nature won't allow that to last for long. If we really don't want to do something, we won't be able to force ourselves to do it for long. 5. Life gets in the way. Things come up unexpectedly that get in the way of us sticking with a habit. And 6. Resolutions are often vague. I'm going to exercise, but that doesn't contain a concrete action plan and doesn't use proven habit techniques. That's a recipe for failure. There are other reasons, but the ones above are easily sufficient to stop resolutions from succeeding. The 6 changes method. So what are we to do? 1. We only focus on one habit change at a time, so our focus and energies aren't spread thinly. 2. We implement the habit changes gradually, so we don't run out of steam. 3. We start out really easily, so it isn't intimidating. 4. We focus on enjoyable activities, so we don't need quote-unquote discipline. 5. We have 2 months to do the habit change, so if something comes up, it's but a small bump in the road, and because we're publicly committed, we're going to get back on track. And 6. We have a very specific plan with actions built in, using proven habit change techniques. If you stick with this method, you'll do much better than you've done in the past with New Year's resolutions. You'll focus on creating long-lasting habits rather than trying to reach a short-term goal that fails. You'll maintain your enthusiasm for longer and not become overwhelmed by the difficulty of change. You'll have habits that will change your life, and that's no small feat. The method. So how does the method work? It's simple. 1. Pick 6 habits for this coming year. 2. Pick one of the 6 habits to start with. 3. Commit as publicly as possible to creating this new habit in 2 months. 4. Break the habit into 8 baby steps, starting with a ridiculously easy step. Example, if you want to floss, the first step is just get out a piece of floss at the same time each night. 5. Choose a trigger for your habit, something already in your routine that will immediately precede the habit. Example, eating breakfast, brushing your teeth, showering, waking up, arriving at the office, leaving the office, getting home in the evening, these are all triggers. 6. do the first really easy baby step for 1 week right after the trigger. Post your progress publicly. And 7, each week, move on to a slightly harder step. You'll want to progress faster, but don't. You're building a new habit. Repeat this until you've done 8 weeks. You now have a new habit. Commit to habit number 2 and repeat the process. Quote, "It does not matter how slow you go, so long as you do not stop." Confucius. You just listened to the post titled, "The Definitive Guide to Sticking to Your New Year's Resolutions" by Leo Babauta of ZenHabits.net. A nice and short post to wrap up this week's articles on goals and resolutions. Tomorrow is going to be a little different for this show, as I mentioned before. Now, the steps that Leo mentioned that I just read to you are actually really, really good. He seems to be pulling from Dr. B.J. Fogg of Stanford University. I've mentioned his name before, and he has a wonderful YouTube video, I think it's a TED Talk, where he discusses this very thing. How to incorporate new habits with what we call trigger behaviors. If you haven't watched it yet, definitely check it out. It's truly a fantastic video, and BJ Fogg is rapidly being considered an expert when it comes to changing and sticking to new behaviors. Now, I mentioned at the top of the show that I answer your questions every Friday in a special Q&A episode. Well, almost every Friday. Tomorrow, since we're doing something a little special to end the year, we won't have that usual Q&A. But if you want to send in your own question for me to answer right here on the show, you can come by oldpodcast.com. There's a red bar along the side that says, Ask a Health Question. If you click on that, you can record a question and send it in. It's totally free. It can be about diet, nutrition, fitness, disease prevention, stress management, anything along those lines, and it's super easy to do. Or if you prefer, you can call in. The number is 61 I love OHD. And actually now is the perfect time to send in a question, because anyone who gets in a question before the end of the year will be entered into a small special raffle to win a book from us on January 1st. So definitely make sure you send yours in now to be in the small bonus raffle. That wraps up today's episode. Have a great rest of your day, and I'll see you in the special Friday show tomorrow, where your optimal life awaits.
Hello, Life Optimizer. This is Justin Malik, creator and producer of this show, and Optimal Living Daily, the brother podcast of this one. Literally, I'm Dr. Neil's brother. If you like the format of this show, you'll love Optimal Living Daily too, where I also read to you from blogs, but cover other topics like personal development, finance, and minimalism from bloggers like Derek Sivers, The Minimalists, Zen Habits, and many more. So for more amazing content read to you for free, come subscribe to Optimal Living Daily too, and together we'll optimize your life.
You've been listening to Optimal Health Daily. Be sure to hit the subscribe button to stay up to date on each new episode, and head to oldpodcast.com. That's oldpodcast.com for a free gift, as well as more actionable tips and resources to help you maximize your potential. Thanks for joining us, and remember, your optimal life awaits.